Hey y'all, this your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Say Sports. And Happy New Year. We're in 2021, and it's good to be back. Today I have with me sports writer of the New Orleans Advocate, Rod Walker. Happy New Year, Rod, and happy birthday again.
Happy New Year to you too, and thanks for the birthday wishes.
Did you get a chance to do anything for your birthday despite COVID?
Well, I had a Zoom with some college friends and people from my hometown on Sunday, and I was also working Sunday because I covered the Saints and they had a game.
Right.
So that was the extent of my birthday. But the Zoom was really nice. I saw people I hadn't seen in 20 years, and it was nice. They sort of threw it together at the last minute, but it came across pretty well. So
that was cool. I saw the picture you put up. Had quite a few people on there. That was cool. That was really nice of them. So great. And your Christmas, everything, you had a good time? Did you get to see your daughter?
I did. I saw her over the Christmas break, not actually on Christmas Day, because actually I was working on Christmas Day as well, because the Saints played on Christmas Day this year, which first time in franchise history they've ever played on Christmas Day. But so it was. I was working on Christmas. Okay. But it was a great game. I mean, Alvin Kamara scored 6 touchdowns and tied an NFL record, so it was actually pretty amazing to see that in person.
That's awesome, and we will talk about Alvin Kamara coming up. That's great. I'm glad you had a good time. So, Rod, although you've been on the show many times, please tell the listeners a little bit about yourself because it's been a while.
I'm in New Orleans, where I've been for the past 7 years. Mississippi native, born and raised in Yazoo City. Started writing sports in the late 90s. Originally was in engineering and, switched careers to writing sports, and worked at the Clarion Ledger for years, 14 years, I guess, and made a move to New Orleans in 2013, and I've been here ever since, and kind of it. I mean, that's my that's my story.
and that's a good story. I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, Rod, the last time you were on the show, we critiqued the entire The Last Dance documentary when it started, which was so freaking cool. So that was great. And we were 1 month into the pandemic when we did that. Here we are 10 months later, and we're still in the pandemic. We've lost over 300,000 people, and per the experts, 100,000 more may be lost by March due to the slow administration of the vaccine. And before I go any further, please know my thoughts and prayers are with all that have lost loved ones to this deadly virus. It's really pitiful how, this has taken shape. I'm still in shock that we're still going through this.
Right.
It's amazing, that we're dealing with this, and so many lives have been lost. But please, guys, continue to wash your hands, wear your mask, and build your immune system, eating correctly, getting rest, vitamin C, vitamin D. You know the routine. And even after, some of you who choose to take the vaccine still wear your mask and follow the CDC guidelines. So.
You mentioned The Last Dance, and that seems so long ago when we were talking that. I mean, it seemed like it was 2 or 3 years ago, and it wasn't. And that was like all we had at the time to get through sports, and I did a year in review column for my job, and that was one of the things I talked about. I'm like, man, do y'all remember how long ago that seemed like it was? And
2020 was so long.
It was so long, yeah. But then when you got to the end of 2020, to me, I think it sped up, yeah.
It did.
But The Last Dance, I mean, it seemed like getting from just one episode to the next episode. It seemed like it took a month just to get, from week to week. So, yeah.
And I think because we were really on lockdown.
We were,
for the most part. For Americans, because, other countries really had real lockdowns, but we really were not doing anything. And so you're right. It seemed like it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was just, maybe nine months ago?
Right.
That's crazy. So it's just, and you're right, that's all that we had. We didn't have anything. sports-wise. And so truly thankful for that because think about it. It wasn't supposed to come out until June.
Right. They ended up pushing it up so we could
have
something. Yeah.
Right. So thank you, Michael and Netflix for I'm sorry, ESPN for doing that because it was pretty rough. It was touch and go those first few months. We were going through that.
Right.
So, but the NFL season, we know it almost didn't happen because of COVID, and it's being heavily affected these last few weeks. One of those teams is literally in your backyard, the Saints, as you mentioned, and the Saints lost every running back on the roster in Week 17 due to Alvin Kamara's testing positive for COVID. Could you give us some detail of what's going on with the Saints, and will they be ready for the wild card game against my Bears on Sunday?
Well, so I guess it was on Thursday of this past week. Thursday, Kamara tested positive, and then they took a second test, which came back positive on Friday. So at that point, once you test positive twice, I mean you're out for 10 days.
Okay.
That was on Friday. On Saturday, the NFL, I mean, once somebody tests positive, they do their research and they ended up checking for, the rest of the running back room and we don't have this on record or anything, but I mean, we think that, maybe some other guys, typically the only way that other guys could get wiped out with the contact tracing is if they weren't wearing masks, like in the meetings or whatever. So anyway, on Saturday, we find out that Latavius Murray, who's the second leading rusher on the team, Dwayne Washington, who's the third string back, and Michael Burton, the fullback, all three of them also were ruled out. And they didn't test positive; they were just ruled out because of the contact tracing being around Kamara, and also the running back coach was also out, so he didn't make the trip to Charlotte for the last game on Sunday. So basically, I mean, they didn't have any running backs. So Saturday, the Saints were basically kind of scrambling. So they moved Ty Montgomery, who had been basically playing receiver all season. They moved him to running back. They pulled up a guy from the practice squad, Tony Jones, who hadn't played all season. And they were just really in a bad position. And
right.
And it's funny because they had played Denver early in the year, and the Broncos had the same situation with their quarterback room, and they didn't even have a quarterback when the Saints played them. They had to pull some guy who had never played before. So anyway, the Saints ended up having to play this game without a running back, and they ended up winning 33-7. I mean, Carolina wasn't very good on Sunday, so I mean the Saints were able to pull out the victory. But one of the biggest things that came out of Sunday is that the Saints, because Kamara had to be out for 10 days, so the Saints were sort of at the mercy of the NFL, like, so when their playoff game was going to be. If the Saints were scheduled to play Saturday, that would have only been 9 days for Kamara, which means he wouldn't be able to play against the Bears. But the Saints game is on Sunday, which is the 10th day.
Dang it!
So technically, Kamara can play, but I mean he can't practice none this week, so he'll be out of practice. And and I actually asked Sean Payton that question Monday, like, would you play a guy who hadn't practiced? He won't know. I mean, he won't be a part of the game plan. He can't be at the facility, so he's basically just kind of be there. But Kamara's like a really smart player. That's something that they always talk about. So if I was guessing, I would think that even without practice, I think he'll probably play. But I mean, it's still, it could have gone the other way for the Saints and would have been really tough on them. And actually, Tampa Bay had the exact same issue with Devin White, who's, Devin's actually from Louisiana as well. He played at LSU. But he also tested positive, and his 10-day window was also on, like, Sunday. And Tampa Bay's playing Saturday, so Devin White can't play. Yeah, so he can't play. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. And I think we're going to see some more of this during the playoffs, especially with, I mean, we're just coming off of these holidays, and, I mean, you're seeing people out and just not, just being sort of reckless. And so I think there are going to be some other teams affected by this as you get to the playoffs. And I'm not sure if you care about the Cleveland Browns, but, like, their head coach is not going to coach Sunday because he tested positive. They play the Steelers Sunday night, so he's not going to be able to coach. They got 2 players that also tested positive, not going to play. And one of those guys actually is from Mississippi, Kadar Hodge. He's from Mendenhall, one of their receivers. So he's out for the game. So, yeah, I mean, COVID's going to definitely play a part in these playoffs and these teams that have a lot of depth, which the Saints have kind of shown all year. I mean, they've played without so many players all season long and sort of found a way to get through it. I think those teams are probably going to, come out better during this playoff just because of that depth. But, yeah, it's definitely an issue.
So do you think, with like you said, it's the issue with coming off the holidays and people are not as safe. They're not being as cautious, I'll say, as they were at the beginning of the pandemic. Do you think that the NFL should have like a bubble-like atmosphere like the NBA did in order to get through the playoffs and ultimately to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, I think when the season first started, Sean Payton actually said that. He was like, look, I think when we get to the playoffs, he thought they would probably do that, but, the NFL kind of came out and just said they were not going to do it. But, yeah, I think that would have been the way to go. I mean, because at that point you're only dealing with these 14 teams that are in the playoffs, and,
right.
It's a little bit easier to manage. But, yeah, they're just going to try to get through it. And it's basically on the players. They have to be responsible. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I think when the vaccine came out and it's the new year, I think the calendar, people got to the end of 2020 and said, oh, okay, it's the end of 2020. COVID's over now. and that's not how it works. And
right.
So, yeah, I think people started getting a little more careless, got worn out. And we're all tired of it. I mean, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being at home all the time. But, just trying to stay safe is all you can do.
I kid you not. I mean, what you just said, because Southwest, they have a special going on, like fares starting at $29. So I found one and I looked at the calendar because Jackson State games,
yeah.
And I was like, well, I can possibly miss this game. And I called my friend in Chicago. I was like, look, I'm thinking about getting away, but it's it's just like everything is kind of put on hold. But this ticket is so
cheap. You almost got to do it, right?
I got to get it. But
that's funny because I got an email. I think it popped in yesterday from Southwest, and I just saw the head, on the subject line where we said something about Southwest $29. I didn't even click on it. I said, I'm not doing it. I'm not clicking on it.
Just do it, brother. Because I have to come to, Southwest is coming back to Mississippi.
To Jackson,
right. But it won't be until June.
Okay.
So this flight, I have to take it between March and April.
Okay.
So, you're probably going to have to take me to the airport.
Okay.
I'll
it's
that later. But so I was like, I got to get this ticket. I mean, I really just cannot let it pass. I don't know. But, I think everybody's just kind of worn, and you're right.
And I get it.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I get it. I mean, I understand why people are worn out. And, again, I just think these football players, I mean, especially if you really want to win the Super Bowl, I mean, you just gotta hold out till, the first Sunday in February. And you can after that, you can do whatever you want to do. But, I mean, you just can't be selfish because you're not only affecting yourself, you're affecting your teammates. Because, I mean, like I said, you're wiping out a whole position group, and it just changes everything. So we're hopefully the NFL can get through it. There was something today about Ohio State supposed to have some COVID issues, and they said they're not going to move the game, but, they're supposed to play Alabama on Monday night, and, that game could get pushed back.
Oh, wow. This is crazy. It's crazy. Well, I mean, well wishes to really everyone in the league that has been coaches as well as players that's, dealing with this COVID, and, everybody just stay safe. Like you said, you got to think about others and stop being selfish and just chill out for a minute.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll soon be over. So, Rod, as you know, the wild card games are coming up this weekend, and every team pretty much is, the playoffs. It's the playoffs now. Every team is pretty much now 0-0, and the regular regular season standings are pretty much out the door, and I'm saying that because of the Bears. But anyway, what are your predictions? And I'm going to start off with the Saturday games, and you just give me, we'll go from there. Okay?
Yeah.
So Saturday, we got the Colts at the Bills.
I'm picking the Bills in that one, and I actually think the Bills is a team that I don't know if a lot of people are talking about them, but I think if there's anybody in the AFC that can beat Kansas City, I think it's the Bills. I don't know if they will, but I just think they are really talented on both sides of the ball, and the defense is really good, and I just think they could probably give the Chiefs their biggest test. And the thing about the playoffs this year is home field doesn't really mean a whole lot with no fans, and
really does.
Now obviously, I mean, there's some stadiums where the weather gets really cold. So I mean, if you got to go to Green Bay in January, that's going to be an advantage for the Packers. Or if you have to go to Chicago, Chicago's like the last seed, so I guess they won't be a host. They can't host a playoff game.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, just those are the only teams that have an advantage as far as home because with no fans. I mean, even the Saints playing at home this weekend, I mean, it's just going to be playing in an empty dome. So, I mean, it's not an advantage to anybody. And if you look at the numbers from the NFL this season, like they've never had this many road teams to win. I think it was like 50-50. Like the home field just didn't mean anything this year. So, I know I got all off the subject with that.
No,
I mean,
I'm glad you said that because I'm a Bears fan and I hate the Packers, and so my cousin of mine, he's a Packer fan, and we were talking. He was like, "Well, we got we got to get home field advantage." I was like, "It doesn't matter. Nobody's there."
Right.
So,
but again, it does have them just because they. I mean, it just it might snow there, and they are more accustomed to playing there, and
right.
I think the Packers are like 16-5 all time at home at Lambeau. I mean, they just play really well there usually. So
I hate them.
yeah. So I mean, it's definitely an advantage for them, and they got the 1 seed, so they don't ever have to travel as long as they're in the playoffs. So
right.
It definitely worked in their favor. But I mean, you look at Kansas City, and I guess it could snow in Kansas City in January, but at Lambeau, I mean, it probably is going to snow, or it's going to be brutally cold. I mean, it'll be 5 degrees or something ridiculous for whoever has to go and play there. So
right.
So
that's true. That's true. Yeah. So I chose the Bills as well. One, pretty much their defense is pretty decent, and I've seen maybe 1 or 2 games of them. They played this season, and I was like, okay, like you say, a lot of people are not really talking about them, but in the regular season they were number 2. So I'm going with the Bills as well. Rams at Seahawks.
Man, that's gonna be. I'm picking Seattle just because of Russell Wilson, and the Rams are having. I don't know today, like they hadn't even decided who's going to quarterback because Jared Goff is, he just had thumb surgery, and I'm not sure how he'll be. But their defense is really good, and you got a good defense. I mean, they can keep you in games, and that's the one game that I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams won because Seahawks can be, man, they kind of up and down sometimes. But
yeah.
I'm probably picking them just because of Russell Wilson so good. But I wouldn't be shocked either way on that one. In fact, out of all the games, I have to wait till you call out the rest of them. But, yeah, that's probably one that I'm probably the most unsure about.
Now, I got one that I'm very unsure about. I'm going with the Seahawks on that one. I do feel you on that. They, can be a little finicky sometimes. But on the strength of Russell, I'm going with the Seahawks. Yeah.
All right. So we 2 for 2. We agreeing on the first 2.
But I already know one we're not going to agree on. Okay, next. Buccaneers at Washington.
That's probably my easiest pick of the whole thing. I mean, I think I don't see Tampa Bay losing that one at all. I just think Washington be overmatched, and that would be the biggest upset of the weekend if Washington can somehow win it. But I don't see it happen. I think Tom Brady beating Tom Brady in the playoffs in the first round, that's not likely.
Yeah, I agree. And Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much a given. I would be shocked if Tom did not get this game, but I doubt it. I doubt that they will lose that one as well. So we are 3 for 3, and those are the games for Saturday. Sunday games, Ravens at Titans.
Ravens at Titans. Probably, I'd probably say that's the best game of the weekend. I guess I'm going to go with this one's tight. I guess I'm going to go to Ravens, but I'd almost flip a coin on that one, and I wouldn't. Man, Derrick Henry's playing really good. I think that one's just going to come down to, it might be just one play in the game, and that's going to decide it. But I'm probably leaning towards the Ravens just because I don't even have a good reason. Just because they're not even at home. I don't even know why I'm picking the Ravens, but I'm picking the Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson, he's really struggled in the playoffs, and maybe this will be the game that he comes through and does well. But that defense is good. I think it's gonna be like a really physical game as always with two teams like that, and just trying to stop Derrick Henry, who he rushed for 2,000 yards this year and it's been pretty hard to stop. But
right.
I'm picking the Ravens, and if you pick the Titans, I'll be okay with us disagreeing on that.
But yeah, I am picking the Titans.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like Jackson, he's been struggling, but I'm really hoping that he will pull it together. But
yeah,
I'm going with the Titans on this one.
Yeah. And that's I don't blame. No, I was gonna say I think that's the one that if you ask me this question again on Friday, I may switch to the Titans. I don't know, but right now, I'm on your podcast and I'm saying the Ravens. So if I'm wrong, you can text me and let me have it and let me know that that you beat me on that one.
I wouldn't dare. And before we go any further, Rod does game predictions for college games, NFL games all the time on social media. And I've actually won a couple of times, and even with my with points. I usually don't like to do points, but I actually won a few times, and I was kind of shocked with the point thing.
I don't really like to do points either, but
me either.
Yeah.
I don't like doing it, but I won, and I was shocked. So, next, my Bears and the Saints. Bears at the Saints.
Yeah. I got a lot of family in Chicago, like all of us do, and one of my cousins texts me. Right. And they just went straight up. But anyway, one of my cousins texted me on my birthday, and he's like, "Bear down, man. We coming to NOLA." So, the Saints, they beat the Bears in overtime the first time they played, and they barely won. The Saints, they struggled that game. They were like 2 of 13 on third downs, and just really had a hard time, just keeping the offense on the field. And that game was obviously in Chicago, and I don't think it wasn't brutally cold that day, but they played them well. The Bears defense is good enough to keep this game. I think it's going to be close, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Bears won because I don't know how healthy the Saints are, but they're supposed to get Michael Thomas back this week. We talked about Alvin Kamara earlier. I don't really know what his status will be. So I think the Saints will win, but I do think if the Bears can put pressure on Drew Brees and make him rush some throws and do things like that, I think they have a legitimate shot of winning this game. But I'm picking the Saints. I wouldn't pick against them. Just because this team has found the Saints. To their credit, they found ways to win this year. It didn't matter who went down. They just always. Breeze went out for 4 games and they put Taysom Hill in. They went 3-1. They just kind of like find ways to win. So, but the past few playoffs. They've had their issues. Last year they lost to Minnesota in the first round in a game that nobody thought they would lose. So the thing about the Saints, if you kind of put some pressure on them early, keep it close, don't let them blow you out. I mean, I think that pressure starts to like tighten up on them, it seems like, in the playoffs. So if the Bears keep it close early, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bears, found a way to pull it out. But again, to answer the question, I'm picking the same.
Well, of course I'm picking the Bears because that's my team. However, they dropped 5. They, we were like 3-0, and then they dropped. I mean, it was like, I don't know what happened. It was just
right.
It was crazy. We was losing game after game after game, and then the last 3 games of the last 4, we came back alive. And,
right. Started scoring a lot of points. I mean, they were like, they were rolling.
Yeah, it was just crazy. And I mean, I think the first win we had after all those losses, I think it was like a 30-point deficit, and that was the largest, win we had all season. So it was just, I don't know. Like you say, they got to put a lot of pressure on the Saints in the beginning. Usually the Bears is the second half team.
Right.
They're a second half team, and that's when they really start scoring. But I don't know if Trubisky can do what he did the 3 games before they lost to the Packers last week. We may be on to something. So
right, yeah,
I'm going with the Bears.
Yeah, and the Saints defense has been. I mean, they played pretty well like all season long, and I think that's probably why I would lean towards them. I just think their defense is going.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to score on them, but so okay. So we're at 3 for 5 now, huh?
3 for 5.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Our last game, I think we may. I don't know. This is the one I'm having issues with. Browns and Steelers, and I'll tell you why. But go ahead.
I'm picking this. First of all, the Steelers.
No.
That's my team, so I'm picking them. But I just think, and it may not even matter as much, but with the Browns coach not being there because of this COVID thing, like he can't coach. I mean, he like his offensive coordinator is gonna call the plays because the coach normally calls the plays, but.
Couldn't he do it virtual if he's not feeling bad?
No, I don't think they. I mean, they're not gonna let him. They're not gonna let you have like some. You can't be like wired up with with getting a phone call from outside. That's not gonna be allowed. So.
Okay.
So I just think. I mean, they're 2 good teams in the same division. They split during the season, and I just think. I think Roethlisberger's gonna come back. He had a week off, basically 2 weeks off because he didn't. They knew he wasn't gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
They played each other. They just played each other Sunday. These 2 teams. So I just think the Steelers. And the Steelers looked. They had the little hiccup in the season where they struggled and lost those games. But I think Roethlisberger seemed to have got back on track when they beat. I guess it was the Colts. I guess last week, whoever it was, and I just think the Steelers are going to kind of come back to that team that we saw that won those first 11 games, whatever it was. They started the season.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why was now I'm really torn because I forgot about the Browns coach having COVID and he won't be there. I was leaning more towards the Browns because Ben, he been having issues.
Yeah.
And so, dang it. Well, with the Browns coach being out, I think I'm going to go with the experience. I'm going with the Steelers. So.
Yeah. And the thing about this thing, we talking about this on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
You just never know. And even like when I've been doing like my predictions and stuff, like I typically just wait till the last minute because you just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if Ben's going to catch COVID. You just don't know.
You never know.
That's the kind of season this has been. There's just so many uncertainties from week to week, and so these predictions we're making now, some of mine could possibly change based on COVID results. It's simple as that. So.
That's true. You have a valid point. So you never know, and I hope everybody is just kind of like really staying focused and safe. Just stay home, y'all. So these games can go on. I don't mean to be selfish, but please, I want to see some games this weekend. So,
yeah, you're too close to the finish line now to mess it up.
You're too close. I mean, we got one more month, and I'm not saying, you said earlier you can do whatever you want. No, I don't want y'all to do whatever y'all want either. I know what you meant, though, but stay safe still. I mean, people's lives have changed tremendously because somebody has passed away, or even if they made it out of COVID, this is doing different stuff to different people's bodies, So some people are, they get healed and they go on. Some are having issues, still.
Right.
So you just have to be careful. So it'll be an interesting weekend, to say the least, to see how everything goes and who wins what. And you're right. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if anything changes between now and Saturday and Sunday. So we'll see. Well, moving on to collegiate ball. And, I had to talk about this with you because we talked on the phone a few weeks ago regarding this. But as you know, Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Coach Prime, is the head coach at Jackson State University. And since the announcement, you probably hear Deion's name much as you do Donald John Trump. However, I'd rather hear Deion's name than Donald Trump. But, yeah, I mean, every single day he's in the news for something.
Right.
So when you first heard the news, Rod, that Deion was coming, which was the worst, best-kept secret ever, I might add.
Right.
What were your thoughts?
Because the first time I ever heard it was when the school that he coaches at, that he was coaching at Trinity. They were playing MRA. They were playing Madison Regional Academy in Madison, and so they were in town, and somebody called me and said, "Yeah, man, Deion's supposed to be talking to Jackson State while he was here." So that was like the first time I'd heard anything about it, and I was like, "Okay." And I thought maybe Deion was just trying to get a feel for it or whatever. But then the rumors, I mean, it started like picking up, and you started hearing it more and more, and most times, it's Jackson. I mean, so people.
Right.
So when you start hearing it, I mean, eventually you know that it's probably some truth behind it. And so, yeah, when I heard it, I was like, this is going to be a good thing. But I think even from when I heard it to when he actually was named, I mean, you could just see, you just mentioned the publicity. I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, no school can beat that. And just what he's doing and being, his name is just out there. And, I mean, that's just only doing good things for the school, and he's going to do. And my friends and I, we always talk about it. I mean, if Deion Sanders comes into your house, if a recruit lives with his mom, grandma, whoever his family, I mean, it's just going to be hard for you to say no to Deion because he's just so relatable,
charismatic.
Yeah, I mean, and there's some good recruiters out there. I mean, you talk about Ed Orgeron at LSU, and I know Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban, all of them are like excellent recruiters, but they're not Deion Sanders. And
no.
You just can't be who he is. I mean, he's who he is, and he's just going to be so relatable to these parents, many of these parents who, people our age, we're basically the parents' ages, and a little younger than us, I guess, too. But
right.
They know Deion. I mean, they grew up watching him, but yeah, I just think he's going to be able to sell that program to a lot of people, and you've already seen it in recruiting. I mean, he's brought in like 3 4-star guys already, and had one today.
The Florida.
The wide receiver from Florida, Rucker was Trevante Rucker. He was a guy that Florida was, thought they were getting. So I mean, Deion's been able to get some people that in the past Jackson State just wasn't able to get, and they weren't. I don't even know if Jackson State was really trying to get those kind of guys in the past, but Deion's like he's not, ignoring anybody. He thinks he can get anybody. He thinks if Alabama can get him, he can get him, and that's the mentality you got to have. And I think it's already paying dividends early. I mean, he's only been officially the head coach for, I don't even know if it's been a month yet, as far as when he actually started. And yeah, I mean, he's done a great job.
So how does a high-profile former star athlete like Deion change the landscape of the SWAC? Well, not even just the SWAC on a larger scale, but HBCU sports?
I think, and Deion didn't even, I mean, he went to Florida State. He didn't go to he didn't, play ball at an HBCU.
Right.
But I just think he understands, he knows it. And that's something I've been impressed with. Like, right away, it seemed like he embraced Jackson State's history. He understood it. And I think he knows that Jackson State can get back to what it was back in the 70s and 80s when they were getting all the top athletes, back when the white schools wasn't even letting black kids come and play there. So Deion understands that, and I think he can. I mean, it's not something that's going to happen overnight, I don't think.
Right.
I mean, it's going to take a couple of years, but he's off to such a great start. And once they start doing that, they're going to start winning. They'll start playing some schools and beating them. I mean, they played those money games, those games they were playing just to get, to try to help out the budget. They're going to start winning some of those games or being, like, really competitive. And Jack State's going to be on TV. And, I mean, once you start doing all that, eventually people are going to – this is where I think they're going to start going there, like, more. And he's going to – like I said, he has 3 4-star recruits now. Those numbers are going to steadily increase over the years. And eventually, I mean, I think there's going to be something, like, really, really special there. And I mean, it's already a special place, but I'm just saying, as far as the football program, I mean, I think they're going to be able to do some really big things. And he knows how to market the program. You just see it. I mean, I think I see something with Deion on it, and I'm on social media a lot, but I see something with Deion every single day. Like, there's something.
Every single day.
Something, yeah. And I mean, and that's like unheard of. I mean, we didn't do that before. I mean, I'm here in New Orleans, and like, I don't ever see anything with Southern University football. Like, I mean, every now and then you'll see something. But, I mean, Deion's just, like, all over social media.
Twitter.
Like, everywhere, yeah. Everywhere.
Facebook.
Yeah, like literally everywhere. Like, you can't avoid him if you wanted to.
I'll even say MySpace.
Right.
I mean, he is everywhere.
He's everywhere.
But, and speaking of that, what amazes me is all the negative comments I've seen on social media regarding Deion coming to JSU. But lately, the backlash has been about how he markets himself, JSU, his sons coming to play for him, and how he recruits student athletes. And, and just what you said, okay, yeah, we're in a pandemic. We're in a technology world.
Right.
He is This is amazing how he's marketing himself,
it is, yeah.
JSU, and getting these kids to come to play for him. So, me personally, if I were these other schools, I want to call out 3 schools so bad that's in the SWAC because they're the main ones talking about it. We'll talk about it later. But they're the main ones who have something to say, and you probably have an idea. However, it's like, why don't your coaches jump on the bandwagon and do the same thing? Because this is the new wave right now, and it's very innovative. Not saying nobody else was not doing that, but like you said, we see him all day, every day.
I don't know if anybody else. I don't know anybody else who's ever done it this way. And some people. I mean, Nick Saban doesn't have to because he's Nick. People just know he's out. Yeah. Right? They want. Yeah. They don't have to anyway, but I've never seen a coach do what Deion is doing, and innovative is the right word for it. I mean, it's thinking outside the box, and it's working just based on.
It's clearly working.
Yeah.
And it's just like, y'all need to catch the wave and do the same thing because all of these recruits and all of these kids possibly wanting to come to Jackson State. We can't take them all.
Can't take all. Right.
It will spill over into other schools in the SWAC.
Right.
Stop looking at it negatively and pretty much hating. And I hate calling people haters. That's so dumb to me sometimes. But it's true. You do.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah. So it's just like, I mean, I have to turn. Since we've been on the phone, I've seen 5 tweets from Deion, and I have to turn my ringer off at night because he's tweeting through the night, And I was like, go to bed. So,
right.
but I love it. I love it. I love Deion. I'm so excited. I cannot wait till February 21st. I'm just hoping that we're still able to play and the guys stay safe. You know, they started practice, you know, meeting yesterday.
Okay, I didn't even know that. I knew it was starting soon, but I didn't even know when it was.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about what's happening. I just, you know, that's all I can say. And, you know, and then with his sons coming, I would have had a problem if his sons didn't want to come and play for him. That, you know, that says a lot about who he is, not only as a coach, but as a father. And, you know, other coaches, there's children come and play in different divisions and 5-star schools, and nothing is said. So I don't understand what the issue is. Do you have anything to add to that?
And I don't really know much about that. I do know that when Deion first got hired, you know, he basically said, you know, he wasn't going to force his, you know, he wasn't like trying to pressure his kids to come. He left the decision up to them, and clearly they recognized Deion's vision for the program. They want to be a part of it, and I mean,
exactly.
And you can't really knock them for that. And I think a lot of this thing is you just kind of look at, and I told some fans this today, I think when you look at what's going on in this country right now, I think all that kind of goes together. And I think, you know, black kids are now seeing that, you know, we don't have to go to these schools that, you know, just wants to play football and don't really care about it. So I think you're going to see a lot more of, if this country stays divided like it has been, I mean, I think people are starting to realize that, you know what, we can do this we can do this with our own people. You know, we don't have to go play somewhere else. So I think all that's going to play a big factor in his success, and just the kids he's able to recruit.
And also, yeah, like you said, for JSU and for HBCU, totally, because, you know, it's people's eyes have been open about a lot of stuff. And I'm not saying that all, you know, they're all, you know, like that, and they just want us to, you know, just play for them and don't really care. But I know one thing about, I went to Jackson State University, and I know how we're like a family. It's, you know, it's literally like a family. The teachers, the professors, the students. It was one, she worked in the finance building. I didn't know her, but she passed away a couple of months ago. And when I saw, excuse me, the outpouring of love and the posts of, I had never seen her before, and people, and I was like, I didn't know her.
Yeah, I know the lady you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about?
I mean, I remember seeing her stuff on social media. I didn't know her, but when she passed, I know. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
And so I really hate I didn't know her, because she loved those kids, and that's the difference. It's not about money with us, because a lot of us, you know, at Jackson State, we didn't have it, but it was just about forming friendships and families that has lasted for years. I have friends over 30 years ago, and that's why we're so excited to get to homecoming. And that's, you know, because we get to see each other, and, you know, that's why we like to be there. So, you know, you're right. It's amazing. So looks like we have, you know, the players are coming in. Now we finally have the coaching staff. And, you know, Deion announced the coaching staff last month, I believe. Yeah, early last month. And you got NFL veteran defensive coordinator Dennis Thurman, who brings 32 years experience. You have former high school coach Michael Polak as offensive coordinator. On the offensive line, we have Michael Marcuson, Alan Richards, special teams, Garrett Harrell, running backs, Kevin Mathis, defensive back, Andre Hart, linebackers, Jeff Wheat, defensive line, and Coach actually kept T.C. Taylor, tight end, and Otis Ridley as recruiting coordinator, which I was really glad about that. And somebody actually I just posted it. Jason, what's his name? Come on, help me, Rod. He just, they just signed him today. Hold on, let me pull it up. I just posted it on my sports page.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, Jason Phillips. He is co-offensive coordinator and wide receiver.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I actually talked to. He was at Utah State.
Yes.
Yeah, I talked to him last. Yeah, I talked to him last year before the NFL draft because Utah State had a quarterback, and I can't remember his name right now, but he was one of those quarterbacks that everybody was looking at, and we thought the Saints actually might draft him. So I actually talked to Jason. Jason's like a super sharp guy, and yeah, he knows his stuff and all. Yeah, so I didn't know they had hired him. I think I had heard rumors that they might hire him like a while back, but yeah, I mean that's like a big time hire for Jackson State to get in there. And I think you just look at the other people he hired. I mean, these are guys who have experience, and he didn't just. I mean, he wasn't just hiring people who played in the NFL and that don't know how to coach. He hired people that played in the NFL with coaching experience. I think that's just invaluable. I mean, what they're going to bring to that team. So I think he did a good job. With his staff. I thought he did an excellent job with his staff actually, and that's what you got to do. I mean, and I think as a head coach, a lot of times as a head coach, I mean, yeah, you got to coach and motivate and all that, but a lot of times a head coach is almost like just a figurehead. And you get the right people around you, it don't really even matter. But so I just think, he's just doing things the right way, and he's going to sell the program and get these guys in there. And he's going to coach. I think he has a staff that's going to coach these guys up and, prepare them for the NFL. And, everybody's not going to make the NFL. I mean, it just doesn't work like that. He's going to prepare them for other stuff, for life. Yeah, and that's, and I think once people start seeing that, I mean, it's going to just trickle down and more people are going to want to be a part of it. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be a part of that?
Right. I totally agree. It's awesome. And I really think this coaching staff is a good fit for the team. And I was really excited when I saw Jason Phillips coming on today, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. So just, I'm excited about what's happening. And, our first game will be on ESPN, not ESPNU, but ESPN.
I didn't know that until today, too. I saw that like on Twitter or somewhere. I saw it,
Yeah.
So I mean, that's big. I mean, that doesn't happen. I mean, they usually throw the swag on ESPNU. So this is, I mean, and I guess ESPN2 sometimes maybe, yeah. To be on the main ESPN, I mean, that tells you really all you need to know about
who
what he's
Deion
done.
is.
Yeah, and I'm friends with Ross Dellinger, who we actually worked together at the Clarion Ledger, and we worked together here. And Ross is now working for Sports Illustrated. He's a really good writer. But anyway, I talked to him at the Sugar Bowl. And, I was like, man, you've been back to Mississippi? And Ross is from the coast. He's from like Bay St. Louis or somewhere on the coast. Anyway, when I saw him at the Sugar Bowl last week, I asked him, like, have you been to Mississippi? He's like, yeah, I went up there. I did a story on, I did the Deion story when he got hired. He said, I'll probably go back for their first game, which, so, I mean, this is Sports Illustrated now. And so, I mean, he's.
Oh, so he wrote that article.
Anything from, because Ross is Sports Illustrated. He's a college writer. And, and we're like good. I mean, we're friends. We worked together for years. And, so, he plans to be there for their first game. So, Sports Illustrated doesn't normally come to a Jackson. It wouldn't come to a Jackson State game if, somebody else is coaching. So, I mean,
that's
kind
true.
of tells you all you need to know about just what he's been able to do. ESPN, it's on ESPN, but, I mean, it'll be the lead story on SportsCenter that night, I'm sure. I mean, Deion Sanders coaching his first game. I mean, that's how big this guy is.
Yeah, and, so it will be nice. And you're right, you mentioned, because I did see that on Twitter as well. I'm not for sure if that is 100% concrete that we're playing on ESPN, but I think so. So
I don't even know who tweeted it. I just remember, I think I must have been on the phone when I read it, but I just kind of, you just kind of scrolling while you're doing other stuff. But I didn't even look to see if it was from a reliable source. But the tweet actually said something like ESPN. No, not ESPNU. It said something like that. So yeah.
So it was from NFL Malik Bounce Beat Baby.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm like you. That could just be wishful thinking. So please forgive me for saying that. I am not sure about that. That is wishful thinking, that we will have our first game on ESPN. So we shall see. But if anybody can get it done, I believe Dion can.
Yeah.
So,
was it talking about, was it referring to the game in February or the game in the Miami game?
Our first fall. I think
in the fall?
Jackson State
game. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of that, will you be coming to Miami with us? Right.
That's the plan. My friends they already got their stuff booked, and they sent me the stuff today. And like, man, go ahead and book now. And so that's the plan. I don't.
Go on and book.
Yeah.
Stop playing around now.
Yeah.
Those rooms are going so fast.
Yeah. I plan to go ahead and book it now, and if COVID's not over, or I can always cancel. But yeah.
Right. That's true. That is
hopefully we're past COVID by then, but who knows?
Because I'm so ready to get back to fall football and just freedom of going. And it's so weird when I see pictures from last year or see old shows and people hugging. That's odd to me right now.
Right.
And I don't like that because I'm a very affectionate person. I'm a hugger. And, that bothers me. So I'm hoping that we get back to some type of normalcy by the fall. So
right.
We'll see.
I was watching some movie the other day. It was just like a regular movie, I don't know. And it was just a scene of people like at a party, and it was just a regular party. And I was like, man, I forgot we used to just go to parties and just hang out. They don't have masks on. They just chilling. It's...
That's odd.
That's how conscious I am. Yeah, I'm just so conscious of it now that whenever you see a group of people, it's the first thing you think about, like, what are they doing?
Right. So. And what's so funny, when I'm getting out the car, usually you, got my keys, got my purse, but now, my mask and, so it's interesting. We're living an interesting time. You couldn't have never told me that we would be going through this, however God knew. And, we just got to, do what we're supposed to do to stay safe. So we shall see. Well, Rod, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much. I've been, most of my shows that I do now, I'm just interviewing, the person. I miss talking like this with you because we get to talk about, sports and different stuff that's going on. I miss that. So you'll be back soon, so get ready. But
anytime. I said anytime. Just let me know.
Thank you. Please tell the listeners how they can follow you on social media and how they can read your articles.
My articles can be found on NOLA.com, and it's mostly New Orleans related stuff. So I get to do some SWAC stuff. I did a profile on Charles McClellan, SWAC commissioner, a couple of months ago, and just kind of let people know the guy he is and just the vision he's had for that conference, because a lot of people may not realize, but he's really had a vision that's kind of been in the forefront of some of this stuff as far as this whole thing about playing spring football. Like, he was one of the leaders in all that movement. Like, he had a clear plan for the SWAC, and it looks like he made the right call on doing that. So anyway, that's on NOLA.com, and on Twitter it's Rod Walker NOLA, and that's about it. That's how you can find me.
And before I get my handle, back to the Commissioner McClellan, I love him, and he has done an amazing job with the SWAC, especially during this pandemic. He was marketing at the beginning of the COVID.
Right.
He added 2 schools to the SWAC, Bethune-Cookman and FAMU, which will be a part of the SWAC officially this year, this upcoming season. So, they've done an amazing job in the SWAC office. So kudos to him, Dr. Jason Cable, and the rest of the team. They have done an amazing job. But you can follow me, guys. She Say Sports on Facebook. She Say Sports 23 on Instagram. I have a Twitter, but I need to really start doing that. So I'll get that when I start. But anyway, well, guys, that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonya with She Say Sports, and I will see you on the radio.